Imagine two people. Let's call them Sam and Duncan. Same city, same job, same salary, $75,000 a year. They're basically the same person on paper. Fast forward 20 years, one of them is sipping coffee on a porch they own. No debt, investments quietly growing in the background. The other, still living paycheck to paycheck, wondering where all the money went. Same income, completely different lives. How does that even happen? Here's the thing, and this might shock you a little. In 2024, 36% of people earning over $200,000 a year, that's nearly 3 times the average US salary, reported living paycheck to paycheck. So if a high income doesn't guarantee wealth, what does? That's exactly what we're unpacking today, because wealth isn't about how much you make, it's about your habits, your mindset, and most importantly, what you actually keep. Let's get into it. Part 1. The 3 mistakes that keep high earners broke. So while I was researching this topic, I realized something surprising. It's not that people don't want financial freedom, it's that they keep making a few critical mistakes, and those mistakes quietly hold them back. There were plenty, but 3 really stood out to me, and I believe these are the most important ones. Mistake number 1. Lifestyle inflation. Okay, you get a raise at the job. Amazing. So you upgrade your apartment, buy a nicer car, and eat out more. Makes sense, right? You earned it. Except now your expenses went up with your income, and you're no better off than before. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it's the silent wealth killer most people never even notice happening. There's a great book called The Millionaire Next Door, and here's what it found. Most genuinely wealthy people don't look wealthy. They drive average cars, they live in modest homes. Their lifestyle doesn't automatically balloon every time their income does. Now, here's a useful way to think about it. In sports, your income is your offense, it scores points, but your spending control, that's your defense. And the thing is, you can have the best offense in the league, but if your defense is terrible, you're still losing the game. Now, I'm not saying you can't enjoy your money, but small habits compound. Even something small like skipping a $5 latte every morning and making coffee at home adds up to over $1,800 a year. That's not nothing. That's an investment, and you've just found nearly $2,000 without working a single extra hour. Small, but it adds up. Mistake number 2, the anchor of bad debt. Let's talk about our 2 guys, Sam and Duncan. Sam has $5,000 in credit card debt at 20% interest. He's paying $500 a month just to chip away at it. By the time he's done, a whole year has passed and he has nothing to show for it except a zeroed-out credit card. But Duncan, on the other hand, has 0 debt, so he takes that same $500 and puts it into an S&P 500 index fund, which has historically returned around 8% per year. After 1 year, Duncan has $6,000. But here's where it gets really interesting. Thanks to the power of compounding, where your money earns returns on top of returns, 30 years later, that $6,000 has grown into over $60,000. Duncan didn't work harder, he just wasn't dragged down by debt. Now, think about a car loan. A car loses value the moment you drive it off the lot. Every month, you're paying interest on something that's worth less today than it was yesterday. Your money isn't growing, it's evaporating. The rule is simple. Debt on things that lose value ensures your money never works for you. Mistake number 3, not tracking your spending. Quick question. How much did you spend last week? Roughly. If you hesitated, you're not alone, and science actually explains why. MIT researchers used brain scans to study what happens in our heads when we spend money. When people pay with cash, a part of the brain associated with pain is activated because you're physically watching your resources leave. But when people use credit cards, the brain's reward center lit up instead. It feels like getting something for free. Because of this, we consistently underestimate how much we're spending, by a lot. The fix isn't complicated, but it does require a little discipline. Track every expense daily, then summarize it monthly. Even a basic Google Sheet works. When you see the numbers in black and white, you can't lie to yourself anymore, and that awareness alone is often enough to change behavior. Part 2, the 3 habits that actually build wealth. Now let's look at the other side of the coin. When I studied people who actually became financially free, they all had something in common: powerful habits that pushed them towards their goal. Let's break them down. Habit number 1, invest early. This one feels almost unfair when you see the numbers. Let's say Duncan starts investing $2,400 a year at age 20. He does it for just 10 years, then completely stops. Total invested, $24,000. Sam, on the other hand, starts at 30 and invests $2,400 every single year until he's 65. Total invested, $84,000. Who ends up with more money at retirement? Surprisingly, it's Duncan, despite putting in $60,000 less than Sam. Because of compounding, Duncan's money had a 10-year head start, and that head start is worth more than 3.5 decades of Sam's contributions. The message is almost annoyingly simple. Start now. Even small amounts. Time is the ingredient you can never get back. Habit number 2, pay yourself first. Here's something a lot of people notice about their bank accounts. No matter how much they earn, the balance somehow always hovers around the same number. Sound familiar? That's because most people spend whatever's there. It's just human nature. The antidote is a strategy called pay yourself first. The moment your paycheck hits your account, before rent, before groceries, before anything, you move a set amount into savings or investments. Say you bring home $1,500. You automatically move $250 the moment it arrives. Now you're living on $1,250. You adjust. You figure it out. Do this consistently, and over time, you've built a financial foundation almost without thinking about it. Habit number 3, know the difference between assets and liabilities. This one is foundational, so let's make it crystal clear. An asset is something that puts money into your pocket: stocks, dividend-paying shares, rental properties, or a side business. A liability is something that takes money out of your pocket: car loans, luxury goods bought on credit, anything that costs you month after month. Your goal is to accumulate assets and minimize liabilities. And here's the deal breaker to avoid. Paying interest on a car loan means you're paying both the price of the car and a premium on top for something that's actively losing value every single day. That's the opposite of building wealth. Rich people buy assets. Broke people buy liabilities and call them assets. Part 3, the mindset shift. Now, here's the part most financial videos skip. 2 people can know all the same strategies and still end up in completely different places because of how they think about money. The scarcity mindset says, I might run out, better hold on to everything, don't take risks. This sounds responsible, but it often leads to hoarding cash in a savings account, earning almost nothing, or avoiding every investment out of fear. The abundance mindset says money is a tool. I use it to create more. Someone with this mindset might invest $3,000 to $5,000 in a course, a skill, or an experience, not because they're reckless, but because they're thinking about the return on that investment. One mindset keeps money frozen. The other puts it to work. This doesn't mean being careless. It means shifting your internal question from, can I afford to lose this, to what could this grow into? Part 4, your 4-step action plan. Here's the thing about financial freedom. It doesn't just happen. Nobody trips and falls into a life with zero debt, growing investments, and real security. It takes a plan. Think of it like a suspension bridge. Beautiful, sturdy, reliable, but it doesn't build itself. Someone sat down, designed it, and built it piece by piece. Here's your blueprint. Step 1, kill consumer debt. Start with your highest interest debt and pay it off aggressively. Every dollar you free up from debt payments is a dollar that can start working for you. Step 2, invest purposefully. Don't wait until you have more money. Automate a contribution to your investments every payday, even if it's small. Remove the decision from the equation. Step 3, live on less than you earn. This sounds obvious, but it's the rule that separates the 2 people we started this video with. Not glamorous, completely necessary. Step 4, write it down. A budget isn't a restriction, it's a roadmap. You cannot manage what you don't measure. Make a plan, write it down, and revisit it every month. So let's bring it back to where we started. Two people, same income. 20 years later, completely different lives. The difference wasn't luck. It wasn't a secret investment tip. It was habits, decisions made quietly, consistently over time. The person who ended up financially free didn't earn more. They spent less than they earned, invested early, avoided bad debt, and stayed consistent even when it wasn't exciting. That's it. No magic. And here's the truth. It doesn't matter if you're 16 or 56. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. If this video helped you see money differently, hit the like button. It genuinely helps more people find this content. And if you want to go deeper on building real financial habits, subscribe. We break this stuff down every week in the simplest way possible. See you in the next one.